The Chargers came up just short in this one, 23-22 against the Rams. And yeah, I know it's preseason, so technically it doesn't matter. But let's be honest here. This game had everything. There was drama, there were highs and lows, and there were storylines that actually matter as we get closer to the season. I mean, look at it. Trey Harris and Keandre Lambert combining for 151 yards and looking like they belong in this offense. Then the scary moment with Quentin Johnston's concussion. And of course, those questions about the offensive line that just keep coming back. This game didn't feel like just a preseason game. It felt bigger. The kind of game where you can't help but start asking yourself, okay, who's really going to make this roster when the cuts come? And before I dive into all of it, I want to hear from you guys. Did Trey Harris just play himself into a guaranteed role after what he did tonight? Or do you still need to see more before you're sold? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because I really want to know where you're at with him right now. What's up, Chargers fans? Welcome to the NFL Playbook Chargers. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. This channel is all about breaking down everything you need to know about the Bolts. Now let's talk about what we saw on offense. For the first time this preseason, it actually felt like things opened up a little bit. Justin Herbert only threw once, but that one throw to Lambert, that was a reminder of exactly what this passing attack looks like when the starter is under center. Lambert-Smith's route was crisp. Herbert's placement was perfect, and even though the drive didn't end at 6, it had the rhythm and flow we've all been waiting for. But the bigger story for me was Trey Harris. Finally, right? After weeks of frustration, running good routes, and never seeing the ball, tonight the staff made him a focal point, and you could tell. He was working the comebacks, the timing routes, the third down conversions, all the dirty work that your ex-receiver has to win in this offense. That's how you build trust. And a huge part of it wasn't just Harris, it was Trey Lance. Earlier in camp, Lance looked hesitant, like he didn't trust himself to rip those sideline throws. Tonight, totally different. He ripped them with confidence. He trusted Harris, and Harris rewarded him. And when you put Harris earlier in the progression instead of leaving him as an afterthought, suddenly he's the guy keeping drives alive. That's how you finish with the kind of stat line he had tonight. And then you've got Lambert. He just keeps showing up as that vertical threat. He's not flawless. He's had some drops, and contested catches are still a question mark. But let's keep the perspective here. This is a day 3 pick, and he's already blowing past expectations. First, the hope was maybe he would make the roster. Then it was, okay, maybe he's active on Sundays. Now it's like, how do you keep this guy off the field with the way he's producing? That's a fast climb for a rookie. And tonight only added to it. But of course, we have to talk about Quentin Johnston. That was a scary, scary scene. He goes down, the trainers rush out, they bring the cart and the stretcher. The whole stadium just froze. Thankfully, it's only a concussion, and he was able to get up and walk off. But let's be real. Concussions don't come with neat little timelines. Could he be back by week 1? Sure, maybe. But you don't just pencil that in. And honestly, the way some people immediately jumped online trying to turn that moment into another Johnston debate, that was embarrassing. A guy's on the ground, possibly dealing with a head or neck injury, and people are rushing to argue about whether he should have caught the ball. Not the time, not the place. Tonight was about hoping for the guy's okay. The football talk can wait. Okay, now let's talk about the most important thing, quarterbacks, and I'll just say it flat out. The backup quarterback battle, it's over. Trey Lance is the guy. He's been building week by week, but tonight really sealed it. The way he attacked outside the numbers, the ball placement, the anticipation. This was the most confident, most starter caliber he's looked since putting on a Chargers uniform. He went 7 of 15 for 121 yards, but honestly, that line doesn't even tell the story. There were near misses that could have been chunk plays and blown up the stat sheet completely. Compare that to Taylor Heinicke, who just looked off again. He missed Harris badly on a couple throws that could have flipped entire drives. And at this point, it's not even close. If Heinicke sticks around, maybe it's as a veteran practice squad guy. But QB2? That's Trey Lance's job now. And it shouldn't even be a debate. Now, the run game, let's just say it wasn't pretty. If you're just staring at the box score, you probably cringed. Kimani Vidal and Rocket Sanders combined for 15 carries, 26 yards. That's ugly. But I'll be fair here. This was an offensive line issue. Vidal was getting hit in the backfield almost immediately. Sanders at least gave us something. One 10-yard burst, a couple runs where he created out of nothing. That creativity is why he might be sneaking ahead in the RB3/RB4 competition. But behind that line, I mean, you could have put prime LaDainian Tomlinson back there and he wouldn't have done much more. The difference tonight was Sanders showed flashes. The vision, the improvisation. Vidal's value might be leaning more on his pass protection and special teams play, and that could keep him around. But if we're talking pure juice at running back, that edge went to Sanders tonight. Special teams gave us some of the best pure fun of the night. Luke Grimm's punt return touchdown, that was electric. And then Tara Edwards with the big man interception of Stetson Bennett, that was awesome. He even lowered the shoulder on Bennett at the end of the return, which got the whole sideline hyped. Look, those guys might not make the final roster, but they gave us moments we're going to remember. Defensively, though, we've got to be honest. That wasn't good enough. The Rams opened the game with a 9-play, 60-yard drive and didn't even face a third down. That's about as bad a first impression as you can script. And before anyone says, well, no Derwin James, no Khalil Mack, let's remember this was against the Rams' backups, against Stetson Bennett, and they still moved the ball like it was easy. Blake Corum gashing runs, wide open completions underneath. It just looked simple. And yeah, it's preseason, but if I'm Jim Harbaugh and Jesse Minter, I'm seriously thinking about running the starters out there again next week just to change the energy. And the corners, man, that's a worry. Josser Taylor had another rough one. He gave up a touchdown, missed a tackle, and just looked shaky all night in coverage. We've defended him before because of his special teams value, but as a corner, he's regressed. And with Cam Hart, Dean Leonard, Benjamin St-Juste all missing time, this group is thin. It showed tonight. The one bright spot was Nikko Reed finally getting back out there, flashing some of the playmaking we saw from him last preseason. But still, if this group doesn't get healthy soon, the corner is right back near the top of the needs list. This whole game really came down to momentum swings. Early on, the Rams controlled everything. Long drives, chewing clock, looking comfortable. Then, in the second half, the Chargers started pushing the ball downfield. Harris and Lambert Smith making plays, Lance looking confident. The offense woke up, but the defense never quite matched that energy. And those lapses, especially late, were the difference. And that brings us to the depth chart takeaways. At wide receiver, Harris and Lambert Smith both stock way up. Johnston's injury complicates his path to Week 1 snaps. At quarterback, Lance has basically locked QB2. In the backfield, Sanders might have nudged ahead of Vidal, though Vidal's versatility still matters. Offensive line depth, rough. And at corner, big questions remain. At the end of the day, it's preseason. The scoreboard doesn't matter, but reps, execution, and evaluations do. And tonight, we learned a lot about who's trending up and who might be running out of time. So now, I'll leave you with this. Are the Chargers actually building their future core with guys like Harris and Lambert Smith? Or are these just fun preseason flashes that won't carry over when the real games start? Let me know what you think in the comments, because after tonight, those questions feel a lot more urgent.